I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back?
What's going on, guys? It's Backchat TV, and we're going to talk about this amazing card. Well, it's a good card anyway. UFC. We're not talking about boxing this time. We're defecting from boxing. We're going to talk about the UFC matchup fight card this Saturday, UFC 296. There were some great fights on here. I can't wait to see Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. I can't wait to see Tony Ferguson. Does he still have it against the young Paddy Pimblett? These two fights are going to be great. And then there's a whole bunch of other fights that I'm interested in watching as well. Obviously, the co-main event, Alexander Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. But today we're going to be talking about the main events. I'm going to try and speak about my thoughts on Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. And I'm going to speak a bit about Tony Ferguson and Paddy Pimblett. These are the two fights that I'm really looking forward to. Mainly because I don't know who's going to win. You know, it's a fight where, you know, it's not obvious who's going to win, and I like that. I like the fact that it's split down the middle, 50-50. Most people I've heard speaking on the fight, you know, I've heard the same amount of people going for both fighters, if that makes sense. It's about 50-50. If anything, maybe slightly in Leon Edwards' favor being the champion, having some good wins against Kamaru Usman, who obviously beat Covington twice, arguably, because in the other fight, in the second fight, Covington actually believes that he won that fight, and I've seen a few people say that it was extremely close. So, you know, there isn't much between the three of them, Usman even being involved in this as well. But Leon at the moment is at the top of the tree. Covington is a good fighter. He has every chance of causing the upset in this fight. Let's have a look at some of the things they do well, and obviously some of the things they do not so well. So Covington has a lot of attributes. There's a few things I like about him. You know, I like the whole pressure, the threat of the constant wrestling. He's going to also do that at a blistering pace, non-stop pace, non-stop takedown attempts. Obviously, everyone knows he's got a great gas tank. He doesn't get tired. He can throw, you know, 500 punches in a fight. You know, that's going to be hard for a lot of people to take, especially Leon Edwards, who has faltered under a lot of pressure before. You know, he faltered under the pressure that Usman put him under when in their first fight that they had, and even in the second fight where he was still losing before he came up with the headshot dead head kick. I still can't get over that head kick. It was a great head kick. But if it wasn't for that, Usman was on his way to another win. And this is quite significant because I feel like Covington maybe puts more pressure on his opponents than Usman. Usman, I think, is a better striker. But, I mean, Covington has got good striking skills too. And if, you know, Leon Edwards starts to stuff some of those takedowns, Covington can kind of break up the takedown attempts with some striking, getting Leon to react to the striking and then going back to the wrestling. And he will just keep going at a blistering pace, trying to get you down, trying to wear on your gas tank, you know, and overwhelm you with a lot of punches and set you up for more takedowns. And he'll keep doing that. Usman kind of gives you a bit of a break, you know, and I think Leon kind of likes that because Leon's a more of a calculated, kind of calm guy. He likes his space, he likes his distance. He doesn't really like to be bombarded. And Covington's definitely gonna do that, you know, chaos. He's definitely gonna try and cause chaos with Leon. At the same time, Leon is probably the worst person to try and cause chaos on because he's razor sharp. He'll catch you if you make any mistakes. He's great on the feet with the striking. We all know his striking is great. He's got great takedown defense. And recently I've seen him working on his wrestling, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, you know, submissions, and he's just dangerous everywhere. And I feel like Leon is the most complete fighter. You know, there isn't much that he can't do. Great mover, great instincts. There isn't much he can't do. And I feel like it would have to be a lapse in concentration from Leon for Covington to really bombard him with something that he can't handle. And but having said that, Leon is actually known for lapses in concentration, you know, and all it takes is one lapse in concentration, like he's done many times, and Covington takes him down. And we all know how good Covington is on the ground. He will not let you back up, you know. So there is some danger there. But personally, I feel like Leon can handle it. And I feel like if Leon hadn't fought, you know, 3 fights with Kamaru Usman, I think Covington would probably beat him. But because of those 3 fights with Kamaru Usman, who's almost identical to Covington in the way that they fight, with the wrestling and the striking, the wrestling, they both punch, they don't really kick that much. I feel like that's all Leon needs. Leon has been active, and he's been active fighting the guy who is perfect for Covington. You know, it's almost a perfect scenario for Leon Edwards. Like I said, he's been very active, and then the fact that he's fighting a guy who's just a little bit better than Covington, and he's beaten him, you know, he's unlikely to lose to Covington because of that. So, and obviously the opposite is for Covington. He's been inactive for a while. He's got to be a little bit rusty. He's not going to be as sharp as Leon, and he's not going to pose the kind of threat that he would normally pose had he had more fights. And you know, that's against a champion, against a sharp champion like Leon, I think it's just not going to be enough. Trying to create that chaos with the takedown threats, mixing things up with striking also, and trying to transition. I think Leon's just going to control the distance and pick him off, and I think it's going to be a difficult fight for Covington. Leon wants to make a statement also, so he's going to be hitting hard, and he's really going to be looking for a knockout here. And I feel like Leon can get it. I think it's more likely that it goes to a decision, but I do feel that Leon can get it. I just think he's really razor sharp at the moment. He's looking sharp in training. He's very active. He's in great shape at the moment. Covington, like I said, we don't know how good he is at the moment. The last fight he had wasn't so good, and then he's been off for a while. And even before those fights that he had with Kamaru Usman, he was kind of inactive at some point as well. So I'm not convinced that Covington can get it done, although he said that it's almost 100% he will, but he does have a chance. I'm going to go for Leon on this occasion, just slightly the more well-rounded fighter, and that's the only reason really. In regards to their character, I think that goes in Leon's favour as well. Leon, to me, seems like a just straightforward, real person. No gimmicks. He just speaks facts, the truth, how he really feels. He doesn't go in with this kind of fake character, this kind of thing that you have to keep up all the time. And I think it's draining. I don't think it does Covington really that many favours apart from boost the fight, but it's getting a little bit old. You know, he says the same thing all the time. Hello, virgins, you know, Donald Trump, for America. You know, it's always the same thing. It seems very contrived, you know. It doesn't seem original. It seems like he's been fake. You know, a few people who know Covington quite well, including Masvidal, said that his real personality, he's actually very quiet. He doesn't speak much, and he doesn't really have much to say. He doesn't really have much personality. And I kind of feel that way. I feel like he actually is kind of an introvert who has to create this massive character, you know, in order to kind of conceal the fact that maybe he really is doesn't have much character at all. That's what I feel about him. I mean, I've seen some interviews where he's not in camp and he hasn't got anyone to fight, and it's like the most boring interview you've ever seen, you know. But when he's got someone in front of him, that's when this whole rhetoric comes out, and he starts talking about, you know, low IQ, and he comes up with the jokes and stuff like that. I'm not really a fan of the fake character. Maybe someone else thinks that that's you know, a good thing, but I'm not really the biggest fan. Some people would say, what about Conor McGregor? I love Conor McGregor. I'm a huge fan. I feel like Conor McGregor's huge personality on stage is the way he really is anyway. You know, I think all the things he says is pretty real. He's not just saying it to sell the fight, and you can see that that's his real character. yes, maybe he enhances it a little bit, but you can see that basically Conor McGregor comes across as quite a real person. He says what he's going to do, and he also admits when he's wrong or when he loses. He often talks about he wasn't good enough. But Covington, I've never heard him say that. When he's lost, he's always blamed it on someone taking PEDs, or the judge got it wrong, or people are against America, or something crazy like this. And I don't know if that's his real mindset or that's part of the character again. If it's his real mindset, he's lost this fight already. But if it's part of this character, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I think something's got to change with Covington. I think there's an expiry date on this whole character thing that he's got. If he was to win, would you really want to hear this champion speaking like this all the time? Like, I've really had enough of some of the things he's saying, personally. But that's just me. If we're talking about the actual fight, I give Leon the edge, but I think it will be tough. One thing I like about Colby Covington, I think he's an extremely tough, strong-minded person. You saw that he went through a lot of adversity against Usman, and he still got up with a broken jaw, still coming forward. He wasn't deterred at all. And I think that character, I think more than anything else about Covington, that strong character he has is his best chance of winning, because I'm not so sure Leon has that. Not so sure. He seems like someone who, when the going gets really tough, I think he's more likely to quit. I don't know why. I just not sure about his mental fortitude when it comes to not quitting. But Covington, I don't think Covington quits. And I think that's going to be the biggest test for Leon. Other than that, Leon has all the advantages in skill, in just being sharp, strong, strength, reflexes. I think he's got everything. But that mental toughness, I'm not so sure. There's more of a question mark over his toughness than there is when it comes to Covington. So I got Leon Edwards taking that one, probably by decision, but I think he could get a stoppage. On to the Ferguson Paddy Pimblett fight. Now this one is I'm not sure where to go, because you've got Ferguson, who has all the experience in the world. He's skilled, he's crafty, he's deceptively strong. And you've got Paddy Pimblett, who's ballsy. He's got a lot of guts, but he makes a lot of mistakes when he goes forward, and he sometimes can be too aggressive. And someone like Ferguson sometimes enjoys that, because he can get submissions, and he's good on the ground and all sorts of things. You find yourself in a position you never thought you would be. The thing that goes against Ferguson is I feel like he hasn't grown as a fighter. I feel like he hasn't grown. With all that experience, you should see him, being able to do different things in there. I haven't seen that from Ferguson. I feel like he always feels like he can just walk you down and take shots. In his early days, he was just known for being tough, strong and tough, and breaking people's will. As you get older, he's been getting knocked out walking forward by hard hitters, and you would have thought he would change that, to kind of try to avoid hard punches, but he still feels like he can walk people down. He still makes a lot of mistakes he shouldn't be making, especially on the feet, and because he feels like he can just kind of like wear people down. And I feel like that gas tank that he used to have, that crazy energy, that crazy stamina, where he could wear people down, and that toughness, that was when he was young. I feel like he hasn't transitioned, or he hasn't realized that his body has transitioned to, being an older man, and he has to change his style slightly. And I'm not convinced that he's able to do that. And if he's not able to do that, he probably gets knocked out by Paddy Pimblett. And that's the problem. That's the problem I see with him. If he's able to, admit that he's an older man now, he needs to change a few things, be a bit smarter with the things he does, a little bit more elusive. He can get the younger, more less experienced, overconfident Paddy Pimblett into a lot of trouble. But like I said, I haven't seen evidence that he can do that. I think he falls into the same kind of trap and probably gets knocked out. I'm not sure about this one though. I would love to see Ferguson get a win after so many losses. I'd love to see him get a win, because it would kind of just back up all that trash talk and all that stuff that he talks about. At the same time, it's kind of strange, because Ferguson's got this kind of character where even if you like him and you want to see him win, he's so adamant that he's gonna win and he's going to knock someone out, that you sometimes want to see him lose as well, because he falls from grace so dramatically after all the things that he says. It can be kind of funny, to be honest. He kind of says too much and sometimes he can't back it up, and that can be a little bit funny sometimes. But, you know, I would like to see him get a win. Paddy Pimblett kind of needs this win as a younger guy who lately has had the fans against him. And unfortunately for Ferguson, I do like Ferguson, I think Paddy Pimblett's probably going to get it. He does need it. He's trained, he looks motivated. And I think he's probably going to get it against the older man in Ferguson. Ferguson is tough, but I think it's just not enough anymore. You know, he's really showing his age. I think he's aged more than he should have aged due to the fact that he takes so many hard punches and hard strikes. He's been knocked out a few times and stopped, and it's taking its toll on him, but he still believes that he can walk people down and completely ignore what's coming back at him. And like I said, he's not that young man anymore. So, you know, I think that's what it's going to be based on. If Ferguson can come to the realization that he's not that young man anymore, he's got a better chance of winning. But anyway, I'm not going to make it too long. I'm looking forward to the fight on the weekend. I've got Paddy Pimblett winning this fight against the older statesman. And I've got Leon Edwards, the new champion, beating the forever runner-up Covington. Another fight I'm looking forward to is Wonderboy. Wonderboy's back. I've always liked Wonderboy. I think he's bitten off too much than he can chew in the fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov. I've got Rakhmonov winning that fight, maybe by a stoppage. I just think he's extremely explosive, extremely fast hands, fast feet, very strong. And I feel like Wonderboy has lost against that type of fighter quite a few times. If you think about the loss to Gilbert Burns, another explosive fighter, Tyron Woodley, explosive fighter. I don't think he does well against these type of fighters. So, you know, I've got Rakhmonov winning that fight. But let me know what you think. I'm on to the next one. But like I always say, I could be wrong about everything I've said. Let me know what you think. What's your prediction?
I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back?